we've come out of our MLS match this weekend healthy and recovered and ready to go, and we're excited about the matchup. It's always a challenge to play against Columbus. They have an excellent team, well-coached team, very specific style of play that's difficult to manage. But we'll have our solutions ready, and our players are eager at the challenge tomorrow and ready to go.
Thank you. All right, Josh Gross.
Hey, thank you for your time. Steve, what do you notice? It's a small sample size with Columbus, obviously, just the 2 matches so far this season, but how have you seen them perhaps different without Cucho Hernandez, and what do you make of Jason Russell-Rowe playing with Diego Rossi?
The philosophy of their style of play and their way of doing things has not changed. I think there's obviously different players on the field, and so there might be subtle differences in the spaces they prioritize with the ball. But those changes have been made because of the difference in players on the field. And so, for me, it's the right choice from Wilfred, but to adapt his philosophy around who's on the field. And they've done that, and they've remained just as successful and just as dangerous. So it's still the same problems you would see in last year. You'll see again this year if you don't defend properly and make sure that Columbus is also occupied defensively. And if we can't manage to do that, then it'll be a long night.
One of the things Wilfred said last year was that they wanted to play their way, their style, and they were able to do that. Why do you think that they were effective in being able to sort of play the way that they intended to in the matches that they faced you?
It's just a matter of the type of players you have, recruitment, making sure that everybody is on board, and then demanding that from the players, and not deviating left or right no matter who's coming. That has its advantages. It has also its disadvantages, and he's just been very adamant about that. And I think they've done a great job in doing that.
Last one for me. Clearly, you've had success against most of the teams you faced. Columbus, you've lost the last 3 in a row. What will it take to change that storyline over this 2-match series against them in Concacaf?
Yeah, I think the last matchup, League's Cup final, was pretty equal, pretty even, and I think we should pick up there where we left off. Against good teams, it's always going to be moments in the game that decide the result. But I think keeping things close, being competitive is all you can ask for in these big games. And then, whether or not you score or score one more than the opponent kind of depends on the guys in the field and coming up with plays. This game is still about making plays on game day, and I think that's what it'll come down to tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thanks, Josh. We'll go to question live here.
Question for Mark. I know it's early in the season, but what have you seen from this team so far that gives you confidence in not just the MLS season, but in this tournament?
It's pretty simple. Everyone's committed to the game plan that Steve puts out for us, and everyone's committed to helping one another on the field. And that, when you have that makes for a good formula of success. So it's quite simple. Everyone's committed. Everyone's got each other's back, and everyone's just out there having fun at the same time. So that makes for good things.
Does this game mean more because you guys have developed a little bit of rivalry with Columbus for the last few seasons?
Yeah, the club's had, quite a few encounterments with this team. Obviously been unfortunate in the results, but yeah, it's a big game. Every game's a big game. There's just a little bit more behind this one, and yeah, we're all looking forward to it for sure. Yeah.
All right, we'll go to an online question from Eduardo. Eduardo, go ahead.
Thank you. Hey Steve, hey Mark, Eduardo with 365 Football Mania. I'm going into this matchup both undefeated early in the season. You mentioned Columbus being a difficult team to play against. You get a chance to win at home in the Champions Cup. What are you doing differently to get that result Tuesday night? And in your opinion, what has made Columbus so difficult to beat? Thank you.
I think the strongest trait, and I think what's underestimated most about this Columbus team, is their work rate. I think it's a team that works harder than any other team in this league. whether they have the ball or whether they don't have the ball. And that is, to me, a marker of success. And I don't think that gets talked about enough. And so, having that said, I think for us it's really important to at least match the intensity and understand that if you're going to compete with a team like this, and we can, you need to run. You need to work. This is still a sport where you have to run. And if we choose not to, then it can be a long night like many teams have seen against Columbus. But if you occupy them, if you make them work and you make them work beyond their limits and push the tempo, then I think we have an opportunity.
Mark, as a player, what has made it difficult, to beat Columbus? Thank you.
Yeah, as a player, I mean, yeah, like Steve said, they're a hardworking team, very committed in what they're doing. And honestly, on the day, it all comes down to who wants it more. Attention to details. And I know everyone wants to win, but on the day, it's just who wants it more.